So it's nearly Valentine's Day, and I wanted to do a piece on love, romance, and all that fluffy stuff. And then bam, the story hits me with its grim, dark, gothic horror themes. And I decided that would be the better way to celebrate this holiday about love. Today I'm covering The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman in 6 minutes. Let's go for a ride. We start off with the narrator's point of view. She's recently been diagnosed as hysteric, basically meaning that she's just feeling a little depressed after giving birth to a baby. And she just so happened to have married a neuroscientist from the 1890s. Very convenient. This meant that she got to experience the rest cure over summer at an old family member's summer home. It's an old decrepit manor that no one's lived in for quite some time, and she starts off saying that it must be haunted. She gets placed at the top of the house in this huge room with tons of space for air. And when she says, "This room is pretty gross," her husband John effectively tells her, "I know best. I'm a physician, and this room will be perfect for the two of us." It isn't. This room is horrible, and it has this disgusting yellow wallpaper, and the protagonist, who's unnamed by the way, says, "The kids who used to be here must have hated it, and I totally get that." So she begins writing this 12-page diary where she details certain parts of her summer trip. Her husband doesn't like her writing because the rest cure states that she just has to lay down in a single bed for 3 months. So she has to keep her writing secret, and she just isn't able to tell anyone about her experiences. She doesn't think she's too bad though. She's just glad she has a mild case of hysteria. That's an easy fix. Spoiler alert, it isn't. The first half of her trip out in the ancestral home is depressing as she slowly starts to lose herself in her isolation. Her emotions start to become volatile, and her mood begins to rapidly swing as she's unable to deal with all the constant rest. She does say, "I'm happy with the fact that my baby's being taken care of by John's sister Jenny," but she isn't able to see her own child during this entire trip. As the writings go on, her original tepid hopefulness does a full 180 and turns into existential dread. She's only excited when she gets to see her husband, and all she has is this wallpaper to focus on. She eventually tries to open up to her husband, John, after she stared at the wallpaper until it gave her goosebumps. By the way, all John's dialogue is in direct quotes. "What is it, little girl?" "I think it's a good time to talk. I'm not making any progress here with my sickness." "Our lease is up in 3 weeks. I can't see how to leave before. I'm a doctor, dear, and I know. You're gaining flesh and color, your appetite is better, and I feel really much easier about you." "Better in body, perhaps." And John flips his lid. He doesn't even want to hear the suggestion that his wife might not be recovering at a fast enough rate. He makes a big stink about how he's a physician and I know best. Eventually they drop it and John goes to bed, but the narrator stays awake, staring at the pattern on the wall. From this point forward, the narrator's life starts to look a lot better, at least from first impressions. She's eating, quote-unquote sleeping during the day, and looking better. But it's because she sleeps the majority of the day and stays up all night looking at the patterns on the wallpaper, trying to figure out why that figure, now clearly a woman, sits there during the day, tries to break out at night. She has passion for things again because she only has 1 more week to figure out the mystery of the wallpaper before they leave the summer home. She becomes increasingly paranoid about John and Jenny. She slinks around, catching them touching the wallpaper, and becomes defensive. Only she is going to find out about the paper. During the day, she starts to see dark, shadowy figures in the windows and everywhere slinking about. She also slinks around during the day, but she makes sure to lock her doors. There's 2 days left in their summer trip, and they start to move things out of the nursery, save for the bed that's nailed to the floor. But on the eve of their departure from the home, John has to stay the night in town because of his work. This is perfect for our narrator, since now she can slink around all night and finally learn about the wallpaper. She had refrained from doing it before because she was scared of waking her husband. She spends the whole night ripping the wallpaper off the wall with the help of the shadow figure from behind the front pattern, what she describes as bars. She stays up the whole night until Jenny comes into the room the next morning. Jenny isn't upset and just says, "I would have done the same to the wallpaper. It was disgusting." This doesn't sit well with our narrator, so she kicks Jenny out, saying that she needs bed rest and not to wake her, not even for dinner. She locks the door behind her and throws the key out the window. She starts to peel off more of the paper and reaches a manic point trying to peel it off the ceiling, but with no luck since she can't move the bed to get more height. This bed will not move. I'm just gonna peel everything else off that I can. She looks to the window. Maybe I should jump, but the bars are too strong. Plus, people would misconstrue my reasoning. There's so many creeping women, and they creep so fast. I wonder if they all have come out of the wallpaper like I did. But I'm secure because of the rope. I suppose I'll have to go back at night behind the pattern. But it's so nice out here. I don't want to go outside. Outside you have to creep on the ground and everything's green instead of yellow, and here I can just creep on the floor and I can fit here. Then John comes back in the house and starts pounding on the door. "Open the door, darling," as he cries down for an axe. "John, dear, the key is down on the front steps under a plantain leaf. It's under a plantain leaf. The key is under a plantain leaf." And John runs down, grabs the key, and comes back in, only to see his wife slinking on the floor. And she says, "I've got out at last, in spite of you and Jane, and I've pulled off most of the paper, so you can't put me back." John passes out, and she slinks over him to get out the door. So that's my Valentine's Day story, tied up in a nice bow. Hope you guys liked the summary, and I know the last part was a little dense, but I genuinely think it was one of the biggest twists and didn't want to do a disservice to the story. I hope this helped out, and I'll see you next time. As always, like and subscribe and share it to your friends. This is Patrick, signing out.